instinct just told me all is not well. I immediately grabbed a panga and a torch and I tiptoed outside. As I approached the tree, I'm wondering how comes that my son is so tall today. And on reaching there, just looking up, there my son was. I touched his hand. He was cold.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Tuko Talks. My name is Yvonne Kawira. Now, the guest I'm bringing today, I have brought him before to your screens, but he brought a different story about his life and marriage. But today, he's bringing an aspect of parenting. How a parent can be so much invested in his marriage, so much so that they don't realize when their children are struggling with something totally different. And so today we will learn how to encounter challenging experiences in our marriages and how not to neglect our children while we're struggling to make our marriages work. Karibu sana, Mr. George.
Thank you, Yvonne.
We appreciate your time once again coming back to our show to talk about your experiences and maybe the experiences you've learned through those experiences to help these parents who are looking at you, even from your previous story. By the way, if you want to watch that story, you can click to the link that we'll pin on the pinned comment and then get to catch up with the story so that as we continue, you understand where he's coming from. Your story begins when you were a young man. Take us through your experience with encountering mental health, people struggling with mental health issues. How was that for you?
Yes, first and foremost, let me thank you, Yvonne, because this is my second time to be hosted by you. And I think for the viewers, if they saw that link, I think possibly they'll be able to join the dots perfectly well. Now, to begin with, really, I want to begin with the painful part.
Yeah.
When I walked out of the house, looking for my son because I had seen something totally unusual, and only to find him hanging from a tree. And it was possibly the darkest moment in my life, and it still remains really the darkest and most painful moment. And every time I see his photographs, I see his documents, I remember that incident. It's a painful memory.
Yeah.
And God blessed me with 3 sons. Interestingly, I named my children when I was in Form 3. The names that my children, all my 3 children bear, I named them when I was between Form 3 and Form 6. And
wow.
I don't know how I knew that I would give birth to boys. But looking back, I wish I had also reserved a name for the girl, because to be honest, I wish I had a daughter. Now, I raised my children in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I tried to kind of replay the formula that my father applied on me. My father introduced me to alcohol when I was in class 1. And I'm a teetotaler now. I don't drink. Okay? Yet my father felt that he should be the one to teach me bad manners, because then he would control me. Okay?
Yeah.
I tried to remember the things my father did to me. For example, introducing me to, like I mentioned, the alcohol part of it. And I grew up knowing very well how alcohol tastes. When I joined the military, while children raised by bishops and pastors were excited to find alcohol for the first time, for me, there was an excitement. I have grown up with alcohol.
Yeah.
And therefore, I became just maybe 1 or 2 until finally at this age, it's like I have completely stopped. So my children, I raised them with a lot of love, with a lot of bond. The 3 of them formed a central point of my life. And I raised them. Of course, I was some kind of a disciplinarian. My own father was a disciplinarian. And therefore, I was also almost a disciplinarian. I would not compromise standards.
Yeah.
For instance, I would really push my children to doing homework perfectly well. I would push them to ensuring that they're smart. And I wanted them to be really a certain level.
Yeah.
And therefore, I knew that I have given them the best. They grew up through primary school. They were in Moi Forces Academy primary school. They joined, the firstborn joined Moi Forces Academy secondary school. as all of them joined secondary school or high school, I mean, I knew I'm doing well.
Yeah.
They were doing well academically. They were doing well at home. Their boys, they have all gone up to age 20s. The children wash dishes. They mop the house. They wash my clothes. They wash their mother's clothes. So basically, they were just good children. And I did not see anything wrong with them. Well, once in a while, of course, my second born, who now commits suicide, had some, would have some conflict issues.
What were some of the signs that he was displaying that would make you concerned as a parent?
The second born had started exhibiting certain traits that weren't good. When he was in class 3, he would not do his homework. He would not copy schoolwork because they would copy work on the blackboard to come and do it at home. He would not do that. And when he comes, he tells us, no, we are not given any homework. So for a week, I just, no, but how? How can they go for a week without homework? So I decided to go and check with a classmate of his. They were in the same class and they were a neighbor in Moi Abyss. So when I looked at the book of the other boy, oh my goodness, tons of pages. And I realized my child has not been copying any homework, has not been doing. So I get that book and I bring it and I say, you must copy this and finish. And the boy says no and refuses. I said, you must do that. So it's like there is a protraction. And I kind of say, if you are not doing, then you are grounded. You are not going to go out. You are not going to have any food. You must finish this homework. And the boy was kind of stubborn. He would often be a little bit stubborn. And sometimes I would pick up a ruler and maybe just sprunk him on the hand to do the homework, but he would refuse. Sometimes he would do it. So it became on and off like that. He didn't want to do his homework. He was only grade 3, grade 4, thereabout. Sometimes he would not want to, like, I started teaching them early how to become independent, even to wash their own clothes. Actually, my children have always washed their clothes right from nursery. That means at the age of 4, my children will start washing their clothes. And at some point, he became withdrawn. He withdrew from the family. He was in grade 4. He withdrew completely. He zipped his mouth in the house. When he comes home into the house, he doesn't say any word. He doesn't talk completely. You ask him something, either he does this or he does this.
Were you concerned at that point?
Yes, I was concerned. Then it went on for quite some time until I said, no, something is terribly wrong. I went to see a psychiatrist. So I took the boy to him. Remember, he was in grade 4. And he talked to he opened up to the psychiatrist, Dr. Mtai. And the following day, Dr. Mtai calls me and tells me, your boy talked. What did he say? Your boy says that you people, that's me and the mother, we hate him, but we love the other two.
No.
2, your boy says that you normally give the other 2 more food, but you give him less food. 3, your boy says that you normally beat him, but you don't beat the other 2. And that's the reason why he feels that he's not loved in that family. Yvonne, that was a bombshell. And since that time, I stopped beating him. I gave up. And I now kind of relaxed. I allowed him to do what he really wanted to do. And his grades weren't really good. His grades, he was dropping. And I felt concerned. But then I wouldn't beat him because I saw what, and then we kind of tried to be very friendly. We tend to be more loving towards him.
Did it change when you changed your...
Yes, he changed. He started talking in the house. He would talk, but not so much. Then as he graduated to grade 5, grade 6, he wasn't really good. Sometimes I would get complaints from the teacher, your boy is quite troublesome. And I felt like I would come and tell him to tone down. Then it's like, for me now, I surrendered. It's like I kept my hands off him now. So the mother is the one who was now trying to kind of shape him. And maybe even now to the parents, the viewers, I would say that anytime your child seems not to be into books, don't push. I think your child is more important than the grades that you're striving for. I so much wanted my son to get the best grades, but now where is he? He's 6 feet under. Honestly, I wish I would rather have a child who doesn't have any certificate, but he's alive. I can talk to him. We can walk like friends. As he graduated to grade 8, he did relatively well. And I got him a school in Kuria Taranganya Boys High School. And now I had almost like given up. So I was taking him to school just as a routine, really. And I really regret, because maybe I should have come closer, much closer to him. And but then at that time, he was also exhibiting very queer characters sometimes. Characters that would not be pleasing to the parent. There are things that he would say, even to the mother sometimes, that I really didn't appreciate sometimes. And there are things he would just conduct himself not a very pleasant way, even though he displayed himself very well outside there. Very respectful boy, very calm, very composed, always greeting people on the road. And therefore, then in the house, he was moody, you know, he was on and off, especially like when he went to this secondary school, to the high school. There are times when he would just not talk. Even for 2 days, he does not talk to anybody.
Was he interacting at least with his brothers?
Sometimes, you know, after meals, I had developed like habit, like after meals, I wanted to have family parliament, family bunge in my house, where I would sit with the mother, with my children. We give them guidance, like we talk to them, we give them counsel.
And this was every day?
Yes, during holidays, really.
Okay.
Not really every day, but
often.
Occasionally. Okay, yeah. And you find that while I want to talk to them, he wakes up, he wants to go to their quarters. And say, no, I want to talk to you. I have an issue that I want to raise with you. It's like, me, I want to go and sleep. And see, to any parent, that sounds quite bad, because it's very disrespectful. And therefore, I would really insist, no, I want to have a word with you. So he would sit, okay, in the sitting room, and what he would be doing is like, instead of looking, you know, when you're talking, like now you're talking, we're looking at each other, he would sit and look at the wall. That was quite bad.
So everyone else is gathered
Yes.
facing the parent.
But for him, he chooses to look at the wall, meaning that he's completely not interested. He doesn't want. And many occasions I would say, like, now, guy, you are a grown-up, and I think you know very well that there are things that you're supposed to do, there are things you're not supposed to do. What you're displaying here, it's not good and it's not acceptable. But then, because I can't again force him, he's there. Then after I've just finished whatever I wanted to pass to my family, he just walks up and goes. When he reached Form 4, he said that, you people never loved me.
He actually told
Yes,
you.
yes. Actually, he said it in front of his mother and even the other brothers. You people never loved me. And that was a bombshell. But I didn't take it serious. Thought that this guy is unpredictable. Most of the times he verbal diarrheas. Maybe this might be one of those verbal diarrhea. Then he scored well. He was called to Moi University to study strategic management. So the first year, he said the same thing again. And then I told him, what do you mean that do you know that you are the child that we loved more than the others? Then I had even to repeat the verse from the Bible. If I had spared the rod, you'll not be where you are. You'll not even be in the university. Then second year, he said, and this time he cried, I really feel very bad the way I was treated when I was a young boy. And this time he even shed tears as he said this. And it's like, what do you mean? No. Me, I will never marry. I will never want to marry. I do not want my child to suffer the way I suffered. Yvonne, that was very piercing.
So to him, marriage is what created this anger that...
To him, he feels like parents hate children. Like he was hated by his parents. And therefore, he feels like he doesn't want to hate his child. And the only way not to hate his child is not to get a child.
One, yeah.
Okay, so me, I cannot marry. I'm not going to have a family. I'm not going to marry. So we tried to explain, but still I did not connect. Then in third year, when he was in third year, he also said the same. And this time he said that sometimes I just feel like I should just die. He
was
said,
that concerning
yes, he said, when I remember how I suffered when I was a child, I remember I suffered when I was a child, I feel so bad, I feel so pained. And many times I just wish that I would die because I don't even see the purpose of living. And
at that point when he's saying this, are you thinking of bringing him closer and understand where is this coming from to try and solve it? What was your step?
yes, I tried to take steps to kind of win him, especially the day he said that sometimes I feel I would just die, and I can even commit suicide. And then I really had to sit with him and try to tell him, my son, you were our darling. You are actually the apple of our eye. We loved you. And all that we did for you was because we wanted the best for you. But then his attitude was already made. Nothing I said would do. Now, towards his death, as time progressed, and now looking back now when moving towards the day he committed suicide, he had become quite, I became very concerned. My son would prefer to go to their room and stay there. So I remember on that material day, I mean, towards the sunset day for him, he preferred so much staying in the room. And sometimes he can even go for 3 days, 4 days without talking, and I would tell him, my son, tulikosania wapi? Where did we have conflict? You haven't greeted me even for 3 days. Because according to the Korea culture, children must greet their parents every day in the morning. You have to, okay? The greeting is tata, and I say tata, mbuye, that kind of thing. And my son would not do that. And I would be concerned and ask, but then I would only ask. Then the worst part now came when he just would not go out. Sometimes the mother would send him to the market. Yes, he goes, he buys whatever, he comes home. I desired to see my son mingle with other young people. He didn't. In fact, at some point, I told him, my son, you seem to be very, very worked up. I am ready to pay for you transport to go and visit your friends in Eldoret. Just tell me when and I will send you.
Yeah.
He told me, no, I'm okay. I'm ready to send you to Kisumu because I know he had friends in Kisumu. And I will pay for you. Just tell me, can you contact your friends in Kisumu, in Eldoret, in Nairobi? But don't tell me Mombasa. Mombasa is too far. But anywhere from Nairobi coming to western part of Kenya, I will pay your transport. Just to go and stay with a friend of yours for as long as you want. And I will fund that. The boy said, no, me, I'm okay, Dad. And that's the way he would say it curtly. I'm okay, Dad, I don't want to. So it's like there isn't much I could really do. And the boy would do everything in the house. He wakes up in the morning. His mother was rearing chicken, and he would come and clean the chicken place and chicken droppings, put food for the chicken, goes into the house, he washes the dishes, he sweeps the house or mops the house, he makes tea, so that actually there will always be food. He's the one who did everything. When he's washing clothes, sometimes I could give him a shirt, 2 shirts, a trouser, wash for me that. He could even pick his mother's maybe the shawl to wash and does that. So basically, he was good. I mean, there's nothing unusual that we're seeing about that. And until that fateful day, January 31st, and we had eaten very well. We had cooked cassava. We had actually had a good meal, fried cassava, together with beans and tea. And then in the evening, that food was still there. And he asked us whether he should cook for us. And we told him no, the food that we had for lunch, there's still plenty of it. Therefore, that's what we want to eat. As guys, we don't want to eat anything different. But if you want to cook different type of food, go ahead and cook for yourself. And he said, no, for me, I'm okay. He finished washing the dishes, cleaned everything, wiped the kitchen, then he walked out. And when he walked out, we knew that he's gone to sleep. Then after about 30 minutes, he comes. He asked me for my phone. So I don't know, he entered into Google, because when he entered into Google, I suppose he was deleting his account. I don't know. Because finally I saw all his contacts came to my contacts. Yes, yeah. So that my phone now had all his contacts, because he had opened his Gmail on my phone, but he signed out because I couldn't get into his email. Then what he did, he went to the room again. He came back like, I'm coming to drink water. So he went to the kitchen. He walked out and tells, okay, good night, I'm gone. And we said, okay, fine, see you. We were still seated. It was around 8:30 now. And we sat there watching television until around 10:30. Then I felt like now I want to go and sleep. So I stood up to go and pick my spectacles, actually the case to my spectacles where I had put it next to the TV. And as I was picking it, then I see the keys to their room. And I asked the mother, how? The key to the room? The boy went to sleep. How comes that the key is here? And the mother said, well, maybe he just returned it. No, he can't return the key. It doesn't make sense. If he has gone to sleep, then he should have the key to the padlock. Instinct just told me all is not well. No, all is not well. I immediately grabbed a panga and a torch and I tiptoed outside. I opened the door very slowly. I wanted to go and see whether he's in the house or what is he's doing in the house, if at all he's in the house. Then as I just walked out, then I see him like he's under the tree, he's making the phone call. So I thought he's making a phone call and I stood there waiting. After about 4 or 5 minutes, I don't see any movement. I decided to shine the torch to him. I expected him to turn. He didn't turn. Why is this guy not turning? So I decided to walk just about 10 meters away from the door to the tree. And I walked. Then as I approached the tree, I'm wondering how comes that my son is so tall today. And on reaching there, just looking up, there my son was. He had hanged himself. I touched his hand. He was cold. He slept very peacefully. Many people who have hanged themselves, I have seen the tongue coming out. This guy was very peaceful, just like that. The tongue was not there. And I went back to the house. I told the mother, we have lost him. What? He's gone. So, of course, it was very harrowing to the mother, and as we called the police, and all those other processes. But then, looking back, I feel like my son was battling. I was so busy also engrossed with my career, trying to look for money, trying to edge for a living, to the extent that I was not aware that my son was actually battling with something inside him. I failed to detect that there was a struggle inside my son, a struggle that was actually kind of wasting him away every other day.
From the inside.
From the inside. Now I'm trying to realize, because he had put on a lot of weight. Actually, at the time of dying, even to get him from the tree, it wasn't easy. He was more than 95 kilograms. Now looking back, I realized that because depression can lead to either loss of weight or gain of weight. So my son, now I'm realizing that he had gained weight as a result of depression. Because he wasn't really a good eater. He was not eating a lot. Yet he was really putting a lot of weight. To the extent that anybody entering the house would have thought that he is the father of the homestead. He was far bigger than I am. Yeah. And to the parents, I would strongly encourage that even before your first child comes, make sure that you know what mental health is all about. All the traits, the characteristics of mental health, the symptoms, those traits that will show you that your child or even your partner has mental health. And therefore, it's important. That's the beginning, the starting point. For me, that would be the starting point. Yeah. It's more important, actually, I would encourage that even before someone contemplates considering to marry, they should know what mental health is. First and foremost is that these people are very easily irritable. They get irritated at something very small. This thing happened with my son. Two, they withdraw. They would prefer to spend their time alone, either on their phone, social media, they're on their phone, and they would rather be in the other separate room upstairs, the bedroom, but they are not with the rest of the family. Three, you find that even the kind of programs that they really watch are also a little bit questionable. Okay, fine. Horror, even many youngsters, they love horror movies. But then there is also an extent to which now it becomes an issue, and you should tell that there's something wrong.
Did you have an experience with that?
Yes. For the kind of profile they put on their WhatsApp status, Facebook status, they'll tend to portray their image as somebody who's angry. You find that you have a very handsome boy, but kunja uso kweli kweli. The face has a lot of folds, that somebody is angry, somebody is bitter. Okay, the kind of image they put can also speak a lot. The other thing is, of course, like I've mentioned, gain of weight or loss of weight. This child can either gain weight or can lose weight. Another very significant point, and this one seems to be cutting across, is loss of sleep completely. My son never slept. For 30 days, he is awake. Yvonne, when I remember this, my heart bleeds. I would wake my son to do manual labor without knowing that my son never slept. It's much later that the mother came to tell me, George, spare this boy. He told me he doesn't sleep. And she explained to me, since that day, I never woke him up. I completely excused him. And I even asked him, my son, why did you ever never tell me? You never told me that you are going through this. Because if you don't sleep, I know you will be irritable. You will be kind of tired. You will be moody. I never told him again to wake up. So to the parents who are watching, lack of sleep, when your child tells you he doesn't sleep, for heaven's sake, let that child sleep. Even if it means to sleep up to noon, let him or her sleep. It's extremely important. Because such people with mental health, they can go even for a month without sleeping. And then another very significant thing that I noticed to deal with a child who's got a mental health issue is that many of them don't know that they have a problem. They see you as a problem, and they are rebellious. Therefore, anytime you give that child to do work, the only way he can hit at you is by not doing it. Therefore, to any parent who is a disciplinarian comes home, you are an adult. I gave you this thing to do. Why didn't you do it? You see?
Do you think from your experience that the struggles that you had in your marriage contributed one way or the other to what happened with your son?
Yes, unfortunately, yeah. It contributed to the mental health of my child, the misunderstanding, how we resolved our conflict, how we related with the mother. Yvonne, it had something to do with the mental health of my child. Very painful, yes.
Okay. At what point did you realize that this all along has been a struggle with mental health for your son? Because all this time when he was alive, you kept trying to figure out what was wrong with him. At what point did it hit you that really this is a mental health issue?
To be honest, I only knew after he committed suicide. Yeah. Interestingly. Like I said, these children portrayed almost a perfect picture. This boy, besides the mood swings that he showed, which now I came to accept as his trait. Yeah. Okay. So did I see like he had mental health? I mean, these children, I raised them. I was too overconfident with my children that no, they can't have mental health. These guys are just okay. This is just a simple problem. So to me, I felt that mental health is for other people. Just like in those days when we felt HIV and AIDS is for other people, not us. Okay. So for this particular boy, I didn't know, man, this boy was smart. He was a very interesting character in the house. When his mood is okay, oh, the boy is wonderful. He would be making us laugh. He would really entertain us. He'd talk, bring stories of childhood, bring stories in primary school, how they would fool me, telling me that dad, there was jam on the road, and yet they were playing station somewhere until late at night. Then they tell me, dad, there was jam. No, now they're trying to tell me, dad, how could he just fool you so easily like that? Okay. And so this is the boy. And it's not until he committed suicide that I realized that the problem with my son was bigger than it was. And interestingly, my son was a poet, and I have saved his poems in my Google Drive. They are poems that when I start reading, they pierce me. Actually, I shed tears. They spoke volumes. My son wrote poems and that very spiral book, he used to put it where I put my spectacles. Interestingly, I never bothered to look at this book. And when I remember reading 2 of the poems and say, wow, you are a good writer. But I did not connect that he was communicating a message to me. He was communicating a message to his parents. I didn't connect the 2. It's much later when he died that I realized the poems were actually messages to his parents, to his family. How he was embracing death. How you're saying that, oh, death, when will you embrace me? Oh, the best thing is when I'm dead, the best thing. Then I said, oh, so he had left a track. Then when I managed to get into his emails, that's when I realized that my son actually started looking for cyanide. And cyanide kills within 7 seconds. The boy had started looking for this thing since 2018. It was in his emails. How did I get into his email? My email was recovery email for his email. And that's how I entered into his email. So I saw the communication that he had been doing since 2018.
So that diary, you would call it a diary, is it?
It wasn't really a diary, but it was a poem
like a
book.
notebook.
It was a notebook, a spiral book, where he had written, I think there should be about 10 or 12 poems, which I scanned and have saved them in my Google Drive. And I have written them the poisonous poems. Because honestly, they are poisonous. Nobody else in my family has dared read those poems. I'm the only one who has read them, and I have saved them. Because then they speak volumes of what my son was going through. That's the only part where I found where my son was going through. But interestingly, my son had a girlfriend whom he opened everything. And this girlfriend also opened up and told us everything. And I said, oh my goodness, I wish I had gotten this. That my son has been agonizing. But he said that he had told the girlfriend that, sometimes I love my parents so much, but sometimes I hate them. So he was on and off.
Conflicted.
One time he loves us, one time he hates us. But most especially me. Yet this is a child that I loved so much. A child I named after a historical hero. You can imagine. To the child who has mental health, sometimes they have got very queer demands. They want this, they want that, they want that. Some of things that don't make sense to you. To the parents, I would say, if they are within your reach, give them. Because if you don't give them, you will find them 6 feet under. My son, for example, wanted a laptop. I could have bought him. But then, because we were not relating well, for me, I was seeing the rebellious in him. I want him to do this. He doesn't want to do it. So he is not friendly. He doesn't look cooperative. So at the back of my mind, I was asking myself, now, what's the point of buying him a laptop? Even though I could have bought him a laptop. So that thing hits me very much. And looking back, I say, I wish I could have done that. Because that's what he wanted. Earlier, I mean, I'm talking about the things that you should do to the child.
Yes.
Never reprimand a child who has mental health. They should not be reprimanded. You make things worse for that child. If you have given your child some work to do and that child didn't do it, sorry, don't reprimand. When you come and you find that the work is not done or it has been done poorly, shortly, just smile at the child. Tap the child on the shoulder and tell him, it's okay, my son. I know maybe you are tired. It will be done later.
Continue later.
Yes. When you come and you find your child, maybe you want to give a job or a task to your child to do and he has mental health, don't tell him, hey, I'm going to work. I want to come back. I want to find you have done A, B, C, D. No. Just call him and tell him, my son John, I'm going. I'm busy. I had this thing to do. Kindly, if you have time, do it. But if you find you're busy or don't have time, it's okay. Don't leave it. Don't worry about it. It will be done later. In other words, you are giving that child control over his or her own decision. That child should do it willingly now. Yeah. Because children with the mental health tend to rebel. They want to do the opposite of what you want. And they are doing this because they hate you. They are doing this because the only way they can hit at you. They can't punch you. Even though I have heard of one who actually beat the father and even wanted to beat the mother.
Looking back at your experience and the relationship you had with your late son, has that changed the way you relate with your other sons?
Yes, it has. It has, because I no longer push. They are grown-ups.
Yeah.
They do what they want to do. They carry themselves in whatever way they want to do. When they ask for my advice, they'll get it. Because again, even though that's not an area that I really want to venture, but I have to say that I now really accommodate them more.
What's the one message as we wrap up you have to your children and maybe, your late son? What's the one thing you would want them to know? All your children.
To my children, I want to say that I love you very, very much.
Yeah.
I would still pick you years, even after 1,000 years, you'll still be my children. To their mother, I don't want to speak about that, but I know she still remains the best friend, the biggest rock that really ever came into my life. And to the young people who might be watching this show, I want to tell you, young people, that there is no parent who hates his or her children. Parents do not and will never hate their children. You children remain our future, our hope, and our security. That perception that your parents hate you, it's just a negative perception. And to the children, I say that if there is any concern about your mother, about your father, say it, speak it out, spit everything you think about your parent, force them to sit down and listen to you. And to the parents, I want to say that should your children open up their heart and tell you and spill all the beans about you, don't be angry. Sit with them. Talk to them so softly, so passionately. And don't defend or try to justify yourself, because again, you will be losing it. Just, even without accepting, but just promise that you will change. Apologize. In families, we'll need to apologize even for things that we didn't do. I encourage the parents to involve their children in the conflict, in the marriage conflict, especially when they are grown-up children. Any children above the age of 8, they should really be involved. And the children should know very well that even after the father and mother are walking apart, they love them, that they can turn to each other. And very importantly, to the mother and to the father, when you have separated, be careful the content of information that you tell or feed on your child. If you are going to feed your child with lies and negative issues about one of their parents, you're destroying them. You have killed your children. You have completely demoralized them and disorganized them, disorientated them completely.
You have a lot of wisdom and a lot of content and a lot of advice to give to parents and generally to people who are interested in family affairs. Tell us how people can find you, where they can find you, and some of the content you have on that other platform.
Okay.
Give us all the details.
Thank you. To the viewers, once again, I thank you, Yvonne, for giving me this opportunity. I do online counseling and I share my personal experience. And there are details that I can't speak on camera, but I speak to those people who call me, where did I go wrong? Yes, I went wrong. I missed the boat. I stepped into the water. I know that I could have done something better. So I do online counseling and my number is 0722 381 547. I also have a YouTube channel called Family Therapy Podcast. If you go to YouTube and you Google Family Therapy Podcast, you will see a number of topical issues that I have shared. For example, like how do you live in an unbinding marriage, involving your children in your conflict relationship, don't fight for the custody of your children, but fight for the well-being of your children. And I welcome WhatsApp call, Telegram call. I'm also on TikTok, and I welcome live debate. And I'm looking forward to more men coming out to defend the women. That even if our marriage has come to an end, we must bear in mind that the woman, because we men, by virtue of our gender and also financial background, by and large, we are advantaged. And therefore, I'm calling on all men not to copy me, but to never kick out their wives out of the marriage unless they really want to live by themselves. I'm even challenging men out there to consider leaving the wealth to the mother and the children and become an IDP or a refugee of some kind. But don't fight your wife. Don't fight before your children. Save your wife. Rather, protect your wife, protect the psychology of your children, and let us keep peace. I'm calling for men to form a movement that will kind of give grounds to our women, women who raised us, women who kind of bathed us, women who are pillars in our yesteryears. And we must never raise a finger against these women. In any case, they gave us children.
Wow, wonderful. And thank you so much for taking your time to take us through your experiences and some of the very important lessons that you have learned through your experiences, and allowing that experience to use you as a platform to share with the rest of Kenyans, the rest of the parents from all over the world, so that at least they do not make the same mistakes that you did and they can learn from your experience. So we appreciate you and we wish you the very best, even on your channel, as you continue to impact people. May you grow even bigger and make more impacts.
Thank you.
And to you, Tuko family, as you're watching and you would like to reach out to George Chacha to have him take you through some of the experiences that he would rather not share on the camera, please reach out to him through the contact information that we have shared on the pinned comment. And if you have any kind of advice that you would need from him as a parent to guide you on how to raise your children, reach out to him and have him walk this journey with you. And thank you so much for staying with us till the end of the show. My name is Yvonne Kawira. And until next time, bye-bye.